All right, I guess we'll get started. Can everyone hear me?
Mainly before the recording.
Yeah. Adjust this awkward situation here. All right, can you hear me now? All right. So welcome. Thank you for coming to the automatic institution-specific holdings feeds, or win for everybody session here. We have a great panel session set up for you. There's 4 members on the panel. I'm Dan Fitzroy, the Discovery and Metadata Services Librarian at Sacred Heart University. And I'll be briefly talking about why it might be a good idea to integrate these automatic holding feeds into an existing ebook workflow. And then we have Nina Servizi, who is the Associate Dean for Knowledge Access and Resource Management Services at New York University. And she's going to go into more detail about the efficiencies they've seen at NYU. And then we have Ron Lewis, the Acquisitions Librarian at Loyola Marymount University. He's going to describe an example of how they set up one of these automatic holdings feeds at LMU. And finally, we have Jody Stroh, Product Manager at OCLC, and she's going to provide some more information about how you can get this set up at your institution. And then after we do our presentation, there will be plenty of time for questions and discussion. All right, so first, to kind of make sure we're all on the same page regarding these automatic holding feeds, just want to give a little explanation. As most of you are probably aware, in OCLC WorldShare's Collection Manager, there are thousands of collections in there, and when we subscribe to specific packages, collections from vendors, you can go into Collection Manager and basically turn those on. However, most of us probably have collections that we've built or negotiated with vendors that are specific to our institution. We might also have custom DDA pools that we might have set up. And these automatic holding feeds are a way to actually deal with that through Collection Manager. Basically, set it up, vendors work with OCLC. They'll send your specific holdings to them, create a collection in Collection Manager, and libraries make sure those collections are turned on in there. And moving forward, when there's updates, vendors send those updates directly to OCLC, so automating those updates for you. So just quickly, as I said, I'm from Sacred Heart University. It's a kind of a medium-sized institution in Fairfield, Connecticut. We've seen rapid growth over the past few years in both number of students and number of programs being offered. Interestingly, the library is in the original small building that was built in the mid-1960s, and as we're probably all familiar with, there's been a stagnant library budget there. So all of this has created some limitations for the library. Definitely limited in space, no room to grow a physical collection, and quite frankly, not enough room for many times for the students walking through the door. So there's been a large push to increase digital resources. But that's been difficult to do because of the limited library budget that we have. So we've kind of been forced to adopt financially efficient methods of increasing access to materials. And one of the methods that we've used is these demand-driven acquisition collections of ebooks. And so I just want to take a quick look at 2 of these collections that we've used at Sacred Heart. They're very different collections, and I think the way they've been managed has really shaped how we use them at our institution. The first one is the Nursing eBooks collection. This is a small DDA collection of around 350 titles. The records for this collection we've been managing manually in a sort of a haphazard, frustrating workflow, quite frankly. Basically, the vendors email us the updates, and there's usually like 1 title per email. And then we update a spreadsheet that kind of works as our local title list and make those updates in a customizable Collection Manager collection, and then that's how we eventually get the records. This collection has maybe about a dozen updates per week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but just that little bit of work, just that little bit of change was taking like a couple hours a week to keep updating, which left me frustrated every week pretty much. And unhappy whenever email came through for that. And because of that haphazard workflow, or one of the reasons is that we finally decided to actually drop that collection. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the JSTOR DDA collection that we manage with these automatic holdings feeds. This is a much larger DDA collection of over 59,000 titles, and it's constantly changing, on average maybe around 400 editions per week with a smaller number of deletions and updates. I've actually seen it be over 800 changes or additions in a week. And the original workflow that we had set up for this, where these updates were coming from OCLC in separate files, was taking us about a month, an hour a month, to manage this collection, the records for this collection, which was really good. We were very happy with that. And then this screenshot in the picture there, you can see the two collections that you need to have turned on in Collection Manager to make this workflow work. So that 1 hour per month we felt was really good. But very quickly we kind of started thinking, well, can we do better with that? At Sacred Heart, we use Collection Manager to manage the vast majority of our ebook records. Whenever there's updates in the collections, all those updates from all those various collections sort of get funneled into the same files that we then use to update our records. And once we saw how well the automatic feeds were working with, especially the JSTOR DDA collection, we began to question, why are we keeping those separate? And we eventually came to the conclusion that let's just let them go into the regular files. So that's what we did. We integrated those automatic feeds into our existing ebook workflow. It was very simple to do. We just went into the settings for the collection and looked for that delivery file output and selected the deliver records for this collection in the same file. And that allowed those records from the automatic feeds to go into our regular update files. Once we did that, we were in essence spending 0 extra hours managing this collection of nearly 60,000 titles. And that was very exciting for us. I will just mention that this collection, the JSTOR DDA collection, when we started this, was around 35,000 titles. Once we saw how well this was working, we were able to take staff time out of the equation of managing these records, and eventually made the decision to expand it to the nearly 60,000 titles that it is now. So clearly this was a win for us, but I think with these automatic holdings feed, everybody wins. Vendors win for a couple reasons. With those up-to-date and accurate holdings, they can lead to more traffic to their platforms, and in our case, where we made the decision, because of the efficiencies, to increase the pool of the DDA, those larger DDA pools can potentially lead to more purchases for them. And clearly librarians benefit and win from this with the streamlined and simple workflows that we can create that efficiently use our time. Much less frustration. I was much more happy with this, and that efficient use of the time really gave some of us the ability to focus outward and look to help in other areas and enhance patron services in other areas. Which brings me to the final group, probably the most important group, our patrons, our students. They now can get up-to-date, accurate access to current materials, and hopefully with fewer dead ends, and in our case, when we expanded the DDA collection pool, get greater access to a greater number of resources. So just a couple concluding thoughts regarding these automatic holdings feeds, what they highlight. I think the collaboration between libraries, vendors, and OCLC can really lead to improved access and services to patrons. I find that very exciting. I'm always looking for ways of doing that. If this is something that interests you, let vendors know that it is something that interests you. If they don't offer it, reiterate that it is important to you. The technology to do that is out there. They would just have to start working with OCLC to get it set up. And finally, no matter where you are in your career path, look for services like this. to increase your own efficiency, to both help patron services and to help you kind of grow professionally. And with that, we're going to hand it over to Nita. If I hit the right button, direction there.
Hello, so I'm Nina Servitz, and I'm from New York University Libraries, and I'd like to begin discussing a little bit how NYU is using the automatic institution-specific holding feeds. So to begin, we have found that the automatic institution-specific holdings feeds have provided several key benefits for us when we are managing our ebook workflows. So they reduce time and effort that are needed to reconcile local holdings and general sets in the OCLC knowledge base. OCLC WorldShare acts as a central repository, so we can get metadata for many different products, and we can automate the retrieval of that metadata via FTP sites. I'll get into how we're using that a little later. We can also get full or partial sets, meaning we can either ask for a full set or we can ask for monthly updates of just changes to that set. That helps in overlaying and expedites some of the work in getting those records into our ILS. And we can also fix errors in the OCLC master records, so everyone in using OCLC can actually benefit when we notice that there may be a mistake or something that needs to be enhanced within the bibliographic record. For this reason, we actually prefer using OCLC ebook records over vendor supplied records. One is because we find that the metadata has more IDs. For example, with ISBNs, a typical vendor set usually has about 52% ISBNs. The OCLC set we're finding has, for EBook Central, about 70%. This is very important for deduplication with print and other formats within our system. We also found the same issue related to 766 fields. Again, for our EBook Central, if we were using the vendor set, we were finding around 3% of the records had a 766 field available, whereas the OCLC set 95% had this field available. We also like the fact that OCLC provides vendor-neutral records, and all of this ID obsession allows us, as I mentioned, to be more accurate in our deduplication, to provide cover images within our system. It also helps with linking our resources through WorldCat. So a little bit about the NYU ebook collection. We currently hold just shy of 1.6 million unique titles in our ebook collection, and approximately 650,000 of those titles right now are being managed via the OCLC automated feed. So you can see we're far from getting to 100%. We're only at about 40% of our collection, and that is because we need more publishers to participate in sending their holdings to OCLC. We are using it for several key publishers, EBook Central, Elsevier, Ovid, JSTOR, Taylor & Francis, and we're looking forward to Springer Link, which is about ready to begin working with OCLC to send our holdings. And one of the really nice things about this is when publishers participate, our exact holdings get added, so we're not basing on some vague notion of what a package is. It is actually what that package is for NYU, for your institution. So you're not having to go in and click on a package and then turn off a bunch of titles that maybe you opted not to have, and then turn on other ones that were added to your package. So here's an example of the NYU-specific holdings feeds for our EBook Central collections, and we have quite a few EBook Central, and you can see the two highlighted in red. One is an evidence-based collection of about 26,000 titles, and the other one is our EBook Central titles that NYU owns outright, and that has, 380-some thousand titles turned on just in that one collection. So what I like to do is to walk through actually setting up a collection, and I'm going to use Ovid. It's a small collection of about 1,600 titles. And the reason I chose to walk you through Ovid is because it's also package Ovid. It's somewhat small. It's also very complicated. It often has a lot of changes. There's a lot of ins and outs that people working on the Ovid package need to know about the purchase to really understand what NYU's holdings are. It's also a package that we share among our consortial partners, and we split the acquisitions also with our health sciences library. They pay for a different set of titles, but there is overlap, and there are some number of titles that are in their package that are actually licensed for NYU, for all students and faculty, and so we need to coordinate with them. And so in the old version, you have to do an initial audit, so you have to check with your acquisitions, what is the acquisitions agreement with Ovid. You would have to determine your ownership rights, and we need to separate purchased products from products that may be leased, because we use this information in our system to determine whether or not it's viable for class use. You need to review OCLC world share sets and match the named products from lists that you were provided by the vendor. You need to compare those same lists with any acquisitions partners you had, and then finally you had to sit down and do a MARC review, get your URLs, do some MARC edit work to clean up the records and set up everything for upload into your system. All told, the initial audit would take about 40 hours of staff time to complete. Then we would have KBART review, so for updates we could then begin asking Ovid to send us their KBART files, and we would do a sort of manual review between the KBART file that Ovid's sending us and what we thought we had in our holdings, correct any mistakes, look for records in OCLC for any new additions. The manual workflow, it works. I mean, we were able to match about 99% of the titles, and we were able to, create a record set in OCLC that was, getting about 90% of the mark, but it was time consuming. So you're talking about every month you're having a staff member after the initial 40-hour initial audit. They're taking care of this. It's going to take 1 to 2 hours a month for someone to actually go through and do this manually, working off the KBART files sent by the platform provider. So we then went to OCLC automated workflow for holdings. And the auto update, OCLC also works directly from the KBART file that the vendor sends to OCLC. Manual matching took about 5 to 10 minutes to complete all of these steps as compared to 1 to 2 hours a month to update it. We, on the initial try, were able to match 100% of the titles in the vendor's KBART feed, and we were able to get 95% of those titles were supplied as MARC records through OCLC. Obviously, 5 to 10 minutes is much better than 1 to 2 hours to maintain the set, but there are some more advantages. A, we're currently working with OCLC to improve that match rate, so we expect in the next month that we'll be at 100% match rate for the Ovid collection. 2, because as I mentioned, we can actually have OCLC send the record set to an FTP site. We can automate the upload of those records into our system. We're currently writing those scripts. So beginning next month, we anticipate that it will take 0 time to handle the updates to the Ovid collection. It will be completely automated. The only time we'll have to worry about it is if the scripts tell us that there is some error or some problem that needs our attention. And then, of course, the other great thing is that newly acquired content from Ovid is reflected immediately in WorldShare, so we don't have to wait for a staff member to go in and do the update. All of this is reflected immediately, which means that not only WorldShare is the collection accurately shown, our holdings can also be updated in our ILS locally in real, almost real time, with March 24 to 48 hour delay. So as I mentioned, we're still working with OCLC to improve the workflow in cases where they do not have records available. This involves not only OCLC, it also involves publishers. Oftentimes publishers don't have records or have not provided records to OCLC for everything. So that's, and we found that to be everyone's working very closely and very well together. Right now, if we can't find an OCLC master record, we will upload a vendor record for any missing titles. We are actively encouraging publishers to join and to work with OCLC in providing institution-specific holdings. And we are about ready to begin analyzing government publications that are available through an automated institution feed to improve access to government holdings at NYU. With that, I'll pass it to Ron.
Then I believe mine has to be going, but if there are publishers that also have subscription to other, there are other.
Hello. All right. Okay, so I'm going to cover how an automated holdings feed is set up. My name is Ron Lewis, and I'm the acquisitions librarian at Loyola Marymount University's William H. Hannon Library, which employs around 25 librarians and 20 library assistants. That's the library right there. And as you can see by the design, the architect was a huge fan of Star Trek. So let me give you a little bit of info about LMU. It was founded in 1911. There are around 9,500 students. This includes undergraduates, graduates, and law school students. LMU consists of 7 colleges and schools, and it's located in Los Angeles. So this past summer, it received a #1 ranking in College Consensus for being America's best beach college. And if you're wondering, how does one make the best beach college list? Google it. College Consensus Beach. Now, I know you want to look right now, but please wait until after the presentation ends. So let me remind you what an automated holdings feed is. It's when your provider automatically adds and maintains a collection where the data is specific to your institution. You're probably wondering, who's that lion sitting in front of the library with a bewildered look on his face? That's Iggy the Lion, LMU's mascot. And why is he so confused? It's because he's reading about setting up an automated holdings feed. So how many people have never set up an automated holdings feed? Really? Wow, awesome, okay. That's great. And how many of you who raised your hand are going to be setting up an automated holdings feed in the future? So many! All right. So if an automated holdings feed is completely new to you, you're probably thinking, example. Everyone knows what that's from, right? Yes? Okay. Okay, so a good example of an automated holdings feed is the DDA option JSTOR provides for ebooks. So what they do is they work with OCLC using the WorldShare Collection Manager, which utilizes the WorldCat knowledge base to help you manage the records from your JSTOR DDA collection. So you'll need to ask JSTOR to send the collection data for your JSTOR DDA titles to OCLC, which they do on a weekly basis. You'll want to make sure you request JSTOR activate this collection in the WorldShare Collection Manager and not do it manually because OCLC will not overwrite a manually selected collection. Anyone thinking about setting up DDA with JSTOR? So many,
We have DDA.
okay. Nice, all right. So the JSTOR DDA collection becomes specific to your institution when you set up your profile for it with JSTOR. Now you can opt to have all the titles being offered as DDA included in the collection, or you could alter your collection with different parameters. For example, only wanting titles from specific disciplines, specific publishers, starting at a certain copyright date, setting a maximum price, or only wanting books written in certain languages. So at LMU, we also deduped the JSTOR DDA collection against ebooks we had already owned by sending JSTOR a list of ISBN numbers for all of our purchased ebook titles. So on the OCLC side, you'll need to request access to the WorldShare Collection Manager using an online form. And it asks you for your name, institution, contact info, you know, the usual. The only fields you may need help with are your institution's OCLC symbol and registry ID. But there are links for both of these online when you're requesting access that take you to a directory and registry where you can search for your institution. Anyone here not have access to WorldShare Collection Manager yet? Okay. For those who don't have access, and I think we all do, who is thinking about requesting access? No one. Awesome. All right. It's because we all have it. So when you set up a DDA collection, OCLC will create two collections in the collection manager. One that contains all the titles you're making available through DDA, and the other collection is for the DDA titles that are triggered and then purchased. Once a title is purchased, it moves from the DDA collection to the purchase collection. So institution settings apply to all of your collections in WorldShare. On the previous slide, there were two collections, and both would be affected by these settings. So let's take a look at some of these. Enabling WorldCat holdings allows Collection Manager to maintain your library's holdings in WorldCat for titles matching the ones in your collections. Proxy and authentication is, of course, to set up your URLs to direct off-campus users through your proxy server. You can add and delete fields from your MARC records, change the frequency of how often records are delivered, have reports get emailed to you when records become available. And you can also configure settings for individual collections if the institution one isn't quite right. So one example would be maybe your institution setting for MARC record delivery is set to daily, but as I mentioned earlier, JSTOR sends the collection data for JSTOR DDA titles on a weekly basis to OCLC. So we may want to change the MARC record delivery for our JSTOR DDA collection to weekly. So yeah, that's basically what goes into setting up an automated holdings feed.
So my name is Jody Stroh, and I'm actually the product manager for Collection Manager. And my job is very easy today because this great panel has pretty much done it for me. You've heard about the benefits and the efficiencies of setting up automated holdings feeds already, and Ron has even told you how to do it. So I just will show you the vendors that are currently available for automated holdings feeds. And if you're interested at all in starting with any of these vendors, you can just go to the website oc.lc/autoload for more information about getting started. I'll just give you a minute to take a look at that. You can see that Springer is coming very soon. If you don't have access to Collection Manager already, then you can go to oc.lc/getcm to find more information about setting up your own Collection Manager so that you can begin using these automated holdings feeds. And that's about all we have today, so we'd like to open it up if you have questions, please.
I wanted to ask if anybody's experimented with automatic holding feeds for journal collections on the panel. Not yet.
We do have, I'm going to look to Stephanie for who does automated holdings feeds for journals for us.
Today it is Elsevier and Springer Link will be doing it, and that's it for journals at the moment.
Do they have it for all of EBSCO's ebook collections?
All of EBSCO ebooks.
All of them?
Yes.
Well, since it's so quiet, I'll ask the stupid question because this isn't quite my area of work. I, thought I broadened my horizons by coming to this session, but I feel like I'm missing something. So, in order to take advantage of all of this, you have to be using OCLC role share and use OCLC discovery for your OPAC. I mean, like if you run your own OPAC, how would all these records fit in?
Oh, well, one of the things Collection Manager can do for you is, in addition to setting the holdings in WorldCat, we'll deliver the MARC records to you via FTP.
So then you'd be, if you were willing to constantly retrieve FTP files and update your local.
Correct,
Yeah.
and I believe that that's what NYU does. They have that automated, so it just picks up the files and loads them.
And you can customize the how and when you want them delivered. So it, goes from daily, I think, to monthly or quarterly.
Quarterly.
Thanks, John.
Other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thanks for coming.